Hello and welcome back to Red Zone Report. I am Jordan Rossell, my co-host here, Carlos Magdaleno, and we are your ultimate destination for all things Husker sports, college football, NFL football, and all the latest sports news. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. Carlos was master angler there, as you can see from his hat there.
Yes, sir.
Went on a big fishing trip, so he had to take the week off, and it was an uneventful couple weeks off, I would say. It was just 1 week. I apologize. Just 1 week off, but 2 games that we did not touch on that we'll briefly touch on. Didn't miss much, obviously, but yeah. What do you got for us?
Well, I mean, as you know, was back for another week.
Yeah.
I mean, I was gone.
Catch
But
any
we
fish?
back. Huh?
Did you catch any fish?
It was rough.
It was
It
rough.
was very rough, to say the least. Water's just a little too warm. It was very windy out there.
You were stocked up, though. I mean, like, you looked like you were, it was winter out there for you.
Yeah, water was warm, but it was chilly there.
Yeah.
It was like 27 one day. Ooh, man, it was cold. The water hitting you in the face.
No, sir.
Not good. But
good trip, though, huh? Got a lot of fish?
Yeah, it was a good little getaway.
Yeah.
So,
what do you got for us this week, huh?
So this week we're gonna kind of touch on the top 25, kind of what's been running around because we missed, last week. Touch on the Nebraska ups and downs of the last 2 weeks. It went really downhill, then we came back up. And then we're gonna do our regular segment, studs and duds, and do our controversial topic that you guys will see on the Instagram at rz.report. So
go give us a follow. Come on.
Yeah. You'll see us there.
All right, well, let's jump right into it. Our first segment here is just looking at the top 25. And for, a second straight week, we have 3 of the top 4 teams that are in the Big Ten. And we kind of claim that we have, the higher and more ultimate ground and pounds conference over the SEC with Oregon at number 1, Penn State at number 3, Ohio State at number 4. Obviously, Georgia in there at number 2. What are your thoughts on just the top 4? What do you see there?
Well, I think the whole rankings, everything, the whole college football, the way it is right now, it's all just, I think it's all getting mashed up. There's not really a team clearly standing out other than like Oregon has been the last couple of weeks. But beginning of the season, they started rocky.
Yep.
But, I mean, that's just how your first couple of games go for some people, and they've straightened it out. So, to me, they're the only ones standing out.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the beauty of college football nowadays is there isn't a true Alabama that's dominating every game and it's a true number 1. And I feel like it could be any of the top 6, 7 teams could be at number 1 right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or even not be at number 1, but still have the chance and go into the playoffs and make a run and end up in the championship and win it. Like, just there's a few teams out there like Iowa State's dark horse. Like, you don't hear them talked about a lot, but
right.
You could see them up there in a couple weeks in the playoff rankings. The official rankings come out next week, so you'll hear us kind of talk about that and dive into the committee's decisions, what we think about that. So I think there's just a lot to unpack with the way this year's been. It's just it's unusual to what we're used to seeing with Georgia, Bama. By the first 3 games, who's going to win it or at least be in it.
Right. When was the last time we saw Alabama at number 14? Like, that's the crazy part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the last time we were there was the first year.
Nick Saban, yeah. I mean, that just shows how much of an impact that man had on the program. And
yeah,
they're still a great program, and I think Kellen DeBoer is a really good coach. But yeah, obviously a lot of new guys, new faces in the building, so there's a lot of turnover. So, but yeah, we have a top 4 matchup this week, a Big Ten matchup. Ohio State, number 4, at number 3, Penn State. And that's going to be a good game. I'm really excited to see, how Ohio State bounces back from the way we played them, which we'll touch on that a little bit. But yeah, and then also, is Penn State really a dominant team, and should they be ranked number 3? With their best win being, Illinois, and then they played USC earlier in the season.
Yeah, and just this last week, Wisconsin was beating them
Yeah,
at half.
yeah,
And obviously Penn State did end up coming out with that and won by a good margin, but
yeah,
just stuff like that when a team like Ohio State comes in, you can't have that style, that kind of play in that kind of game. So, but on the other end, Ohio State plays Nebraska. They only beat them by 4. I think that's why it's going to be a good matchup. I
yeah,
think either one of the teams here is going to get exposed as to, you know, what they truly are.
right. Yeah, I feel like Penn State um, is going to have some pressure. You know what I mean? Like this is a big game, and they need to, if they're wanting to play with the big dogs and make their name, like this is a game that at home they should be able to at least put up a fight against Ohio State. But yeah, Indiana's still hanging around at number 13. Boise State went up to number 15, still making their way. Not a very good strength of schedule that they have, so playing against them a little bit. But Ashton Jeanty, I mean, phenomenal running back, so he's just going to keep grinding and keep doing his thing.
As long as they keep doing their thing, they'll be in the playoffs. So.
They're gonna sneak their way in there. I feel like Pitt is at number 18. They've been looking dominant as well. They play number 20 SMU this week, so that'll be a good top 25 matchup as well. And then Army is up at 21, so they're hanging around. That's got to be one of the highest ranks they've had in a while. Started the season off pretty well. And then Colorado snuck in there at 6-2 at 23, and ever since their loss to Nebraska, I feel like they've changed their whole team, their whole offensive scheme. Shadur Sanders is finding ways to get out of the pocket and make some plays with his feet, which is ultimately changing the game and how defenses play them. You think back to our game, I don't know if he ran the ball more than 3 or 4 times. And I don't know if that was just a testament to our defense getting to him or, what it was. But yeah, I feel like they've definitely turned a corner and they're looking pretty hot right now. I hate to say it, but and then I guess our last topic there is number 25, Missouri. We're going to touch on this a little bit later. 6-2 Missouri is number 25. We'll touch on that a little bit later and give you our thoughts, and then we want to hear from your guys' thoughts on our Instagram, so we're going to post that on our story. Give us your thoughts, if it's a yes or no question, give some context behind it, why you think that, and we'll discuss that in next week's episode. But yeah, that's kind of our breakdown of the top 25. You got anything else to touch on that, Los?
No, you did a pretty good job of it. I think it touched into everything that I would have touched into. And
yeah.
There's just you're just seeing a lot of different teams in there, which is good. I love it. I love seeing new teams in there. I get tired of seeing the same teams over and over in the top 5, which, we're kind of still seeing it, but we're also still seeing those teams get beat, other teams have a chance to get in there. And ultimately, 12 teams get in the playoffs. So
yeah,
it's good to see.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely like that 12-team expansion this year. It's going to be a good addition to see if, some of those other teams that don't necessarily get a shot, can they make a run? So yeah, it'll be exciting to see down the stretch here.
See that, and that's kind of something that brings me to, like, it just thought of it. It just come to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So like this year, just say we didn't have 12 teams.
How would you do it?
Who's going in?
How would you do it? If you ended the season right now, who would you put in?
Because you had, Miami's kind of in that same position Florida State was last year.
Yep.
They're undefeated, but there's
strength of schedule.
There's three other teams in the top 5 that have a loss.
Yeah. Georgia, Ohio State, Penn State.
No, Penn State hasn't lost.
Penn State hasn't lost. But Oregon.
Who's 5?
5 is Miami.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I thought they were 6, but
no.
Yeah, but just thinking about that, it just won't come to my mind, who's going in?
No, that'd be tough.
You have an Iowa State team that's undefeated. They haven't lost.
Yep.
You know, obviously strength of schedule goes into play, but
Indiana hasn't lost. They're number 13. Like, yeah, it's tough.
which is why I think this 12-team playoff is really going to help out and give
Yep.
teams a run for their money and
Yeah, it's gonna be a
show what they
challenge
got.
though. You know, having to play tough game after tough game after tough game just to get to the national championship. It's gonna really
Yeah,
put a test to those, you know, ultimate teams out there. You know, hopefully injuries don't really put a damper on who's actually the better team. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because of
I
the
mean,
extra games that they're
really, it
having to
comes
play.
down to who's really got depth.
Yeah, yeah, for
And
sure.
the way I see it is like a team like Indiana, I don't think can go far. Their starters are great. I don't know about anything else. Maybe they are good. I don't study Indiana like that, but
No, yeah, I don't know
like
about that either. But
just from straight off the head, like I don't think, you know, the backup quarterback, backup wide receiver is gonna be
can go up against a
Texas.
team like Texas and take them toe to
Yeah.
toe. I
I
don't
don't
know
think
about that.
so. Yeah.
It'll be interesting. They might make it. You know, they're right on the edge. They're sitting at number 13.
They have a big game against Ohio State here soon. If they win that game, they're definitely
Oh
gonna
yeah,
be heading.
definitely in it. I mean, even if they lose and they're a one-loss team, I feel like they've still got a chance, especially if Ohio State continues winning and staying in the top, you know, 5 around then. But yeah, that's all we have for segment 1. All right, now we're moving on to segment 2. Our thoughts on the last couple weeks against Indiana and Ohio State. What do you got for us, Los?
Well, everybody kind of knows what happened to Nebraska in that Indiana game. I think
Yikes.
that we were the third most watched game that weekend. So everybody's seen what
Then
happened
that's
to us.
embarrassing.
Everybody's seen what happened. It wasn't great. It didn't seem like anybody came to play. You know, one team came off the bye week feeling good. One team was not ready.
No.
And it showed. It showed a lot. You know, Nebraska just wasn't ready. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop the pass. We couldn't get to the quarterback. We couldn't pass the ball. We couldn't run the ball. I mean, Dylan, 4 interceptions, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, 4 interceptions. And then Dante had a fumble. It wasn't great.
It was 3 interceptions. Sorry. 3
Three
interceptions.
interceptions. 3 interceptions and one
He had a
fumble.
fumble there at the end. Yeah. So 4 turnovers.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, so it wasn't great.
No.
But then, kind of skipping over that, everybody kind of knows what happened. We skipped a week. Moving on to Ohio State.
Man. Totally
A
different
lot,
team.
a lot changed in 1 week. You know.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, what do you think changed in the culture of the program within that week? Like, what did it for them to come out and play that defense to come play as good as they did?
You know, so I don't know. It might seem cliche to say this, but I feel like that group of guys has been through a lot of those type of losses, and they're to the point where they know how to handle it well, even with all the outside noise coming at them.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of negative talk coming around, right? They were saying, you know, fire Satterfield, fire Rule. Is he on the hot seat? Worst game in 10 years, which, I mean, statistically, it could have been the worst game in 10 years. But, you know, I'm fortunate enough to work in the athletic department. So Monday morning came around and I went to work and, you know, I was kind of just, you know, looking at the body languages of all the players and stuff. And they came in and they were head down and they looked like they were all about business and they were wanting to get it right. You know, there wasn't much playing around and there wasn't, you know, mopiness and sadness and poor me type thing. It was more of just let's get back to work. That's kind of what
Yeah,
I was seeing
take
from
it
the
on the
outside in.
chin. Yeah.
And I mean, it was good to see. I like to see them respond that way instead of just joking around, having a good time and acting like it wasn't personal. You know, they took this loss personal, and I feel like whatever they did in that week to get prepared for Ohio State definitely, you know, changed something, and they got after it, and it definitely showed against Ohio State, and I think that's definitely our best game that we've played all year, even though we lost. I think that was the most complimentary football we've played. We saw, you know, little bursts of great offense. The defense was stellar. I mean, we were they were 1 for 10 on third downs against Ohio State. That's a team that's a $22 million team that we let them go 1 for 10 on third downs.
Yep.
So obviously they showed out. And then on top of that, our special teams was quite stellar. I mean, John Hull, 3 for 3 after starting the season 1 for 5.
Yeah.
He kept us in the game. You know what I mean? Like,
With the 54-yarder.
yeah, like
And I was blown away
I was
watching
too.
that game. And I was just like, wow. I saw the last one before half, which was the 54, and
Yeah,
just Brian Buschini hyping him up. It was pretty cool to see. I mean,
dude,
I just loved it for him because
he's gone through the ringer,
he's
man.
he's gone through it.
As a
But
freshman, like that's tough being an 18-year-old and having all that pressure on him, and then starting 1 and 5, hearing all the outside noise. But like I've heard a lot of the team has really bought into him and helped him through all that mentally and helping his game. And I thought
yeah,
one of the cool things was Ja'Cory Barney,
yeah,
another freshman. He takes the time almost every practice to go over there while he's kicking field goals and scream in his ear to, try to get in his head. And Ja'Cory said, he's making them in practice. And so I believe in him, and he's a good kicker. And I knew he was going to do this kind of thing. And, those are the things that you like to see. And I kind of thought it was funny when after the Ohio State game, all the noise about Ed Foley was like just silenced. It's just like,
yeah.
it's
That's just like
so ironic, you know what I mean?
casual fans for you. 1 week they love you, the next week they hate you, all because something goes wrong for them.
And Matt Rule said it best, you know what I mean? He believed in John Hull. He was like, he's a great kicker. He will be a
Yeah,
great kicker one day. Ultimately, it's not all on him. And as we can see, like, it's not all on him. It started with the snapping. I mean, we went through 2 different snappers, back and forth, getting the snap, then getting the hold. It's 3 moving parts on that, on top of a
yeah,
defense that's coming after you.
yeah. It's not easy.
But yeah, I'd like to say that he kept us in that game. And if it wasn't for him, we would not be going down the field to go up in the fourth quarter. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Him giving us 9 points was the difference maker for us in that game.
absolutely.
Honestly,
Yeah. I mean, we didn't score a touchdown until the third quarter. So that's obviously, not a good sight from the offense because we got down in the red zone and we couldn't capitalize. And I don't know what the answer is there. There's a lot of heat and speculations going on around the screen pass, right? I mean, everybody's trying to put it on Satterfield. Why are you calling the screen pass? Why are you calling this play? And I think there's a lot of things that go into that. Rule and Satterfield both stated that they knew that the last week against Ohio State, they were going to run the screen a little bit more than expected, just because of the pressure that Ohio State can apply. It's a play that you can get the ball out of your hand quick, and you don't have a lot of time back there when you got 5 stars and a $22 million roster coming at you from the
yeah,
defense. There is some reasoning behind why he called it, but I will say, like, I'm not fully on board with that. I feel like there was some plays where I was scratching my head a little bit. You know what I mean?
yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that totally. I see both sides, but
Yeah,
I don't know because if you're the coach and the players were saying, "Hey, well, we should execute that," but you didn't.
right.
More than half the time, you didn't.
Yep.
So why would the coach keep going back to it?
Right. And
That's my only concern is like, if it's not working, don't keep trying.
exactly. And Rule and Satterfield both touched on, like, obviously they think they're 1 block away from that being a 50-yard screenplay, or you know what I mean? And I feel like
Yeah,
they're right on some plays because the perimeter blocking lately from our wideouts has been atrocious. They're not getting on guys, and they're not getting on guys long enough. And then we've got linemen getting downfield and not making a block. And so,
and if the receivers do get on somebody, they're holding.
right. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it,
Yeah,
and everyone wants to
and
point
that's why
fingers
I
at
don't.
Marcus Satterfield. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so,
well, I just think like your players,
yeah.
the guys you're
So
coaching.
why call it?
If they can't do it, don't run it.
No, I know. And
Run quick slants. Run.
yeah,
I mean, mix it up a little bit. Don't just keep going back to that thinking. Well, one of these has got to work.
right.
One time we got to break a 50. Well, no, we want every drive to count.
Yep.
We don't just want one 50-yard play.
No.
Like that'll help obviously, but we need it to work the whole game.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And Dylan Raiola actually stood up for Marcus Satterfield, saying, he's not the one out there making the blocks or catching the ball. So I think it's unfair for him to take all the heat. And he actually took responsibility himself as a freshman quarterback taking on all of Husker fans, and that's, I mean, that's cool for him to do. But in the end, we gotta get better on perimeter blocking, and we've got to mix up our play call too as well. So like it's more than just Marcus Satterfield, I feel like.
And hit your wide receivers when they're open.
Yes. Oh my goodness, there was obviously a couple
I
plays that
know we all know he's a true freshman, 19 years old, but there's nobody there.
No, I know.
You had 2 drives to do it. You know, you had one in the end zone wide open because the defender fell.
Yep.
And then you run some simple wheel route with Jamal Banks that he checked to.
Yep.
That Dylan checked to.
And he overthrows him.
And he overthrows him. Like,
I don't know what it is, to be honest.
I mean, I know he's probably feeling the pressure. He's not, you know, he's not used to losing 3 games in a season.
No.
You know?
No.
So
that was definitely not good to see from him. But on a positive note, we did see Dylan Raiola break out his running shoes, and he ran the ball this week, which was good. I mean, it's almost like they knew that he was going to have to run the ball this week, and he was like, all right, I'm going to run the ball this week. And, the time came, and he got out of the pocket, and he made great runs. There was 2 first downs that he ran, and then like a 38, 40-yard run, which were like critical, like to keep the drive going. And what they said was they were not like, they didn't have a quarterback spy on him. They were running man-to-man and didn't have a quarterback spy on him. And so, like, that allows our quarterback to get out of the pocket. And that gives us another dynamic in our offense that we need, right?
Exactly. Take what the defense gives you.
Yes.
And I think that's also another thing that Dylan's kind of struggled with is it doesn't seem like he's confident enough to use his feet. So every time he gets out of the pocket, he's either throwing it out of bounds or throwing it to the nearest running back, anybody who's the closest that'll at least get him a yard. Even when he has a 10-yard lane to go, I just don't think he's confident enough to do it. But, you got to mix that stuff in. Like, as a coach, you got to let him know, hey, if there ain't nothing there and you have the chance to run, just do it.
Yeah.
You got to slide short.
Right.
Do it.
Yeah, and I think, we definitely want to keep him healthy and not get him hurt. So, easing him into that would be the ideal way to go about that. But definitely tell him, if he can get a first down on a 3rd and 4, go get the first down. He mentioned in the conference that he had a play against Indiana where it was a 3rd and 4, and he was rolling right, and he turned back against his body and threw a ball into the ground when he knew that he could have ran and got the first down. Like that's a game changer. If you run the ball for a first down and keep the drive going,
that could change the whole drive.
Yeah. So
another topic going with that.
Yeah.
Emmett Johnson.
All right.
Running for the first down.
Yeah.
Gets the first down, but doesn't get the first down. What is that?
My gosh.
What happened?
I don't know. I definitely it was a
Ryan
weird...
Day paying these officials once again.
I hate to be those people, right? I hate to say blame everything on the refs, but there was 2 back-to-back calls that were absolutely wrong, right? Like, obviously the first down play was a first down, and he marked the first down, but then they set the ball and then moved it back, and then overturned the first down. I don't know. They didn't even review it, but obviously it changed the play call that we were gonna call, and we had to burn a timeout in that circumstance because of the non-first down. So I mean, it's just like, I don't know. It's very unfortunate how it happened.
The thing that I hate is in the game, you look at it and you're like, well, why didn't they give us that? Then you go back, what was it? Like a couple days later, they sent it to the Big Ten committee.
Yep. And they came back and said it was a first down.
This was a first down. Well, now what? Why even review it? Because they can't change nothing.
No, it's just more of like an accountability.
I think they need to find them damn refs.
I think they might. I mean, like that was, I don't know. That's a bad call, and it's like blatantly, honestly, right in front of you. Like, I don't get it.
I just don't get how you miss it.
I don't either. And it's just like, you start to wonder, like, what all goes into that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't get how you miss it.
No.
Just like the refs did you see the Vikings playing the Rams like a weekend ago or so?
Vikings,
in the last play, the Rams defender, they were in their own end zone. The Rams defender runs in, rushes the quarterback, grabs him by his face mask, there's two refs standing behind him
yes.
in the end zone,
I saw the
and
memes.
nobody sees the face mask.
His whole helmet was sideways.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, I
but
don't know.
nobody sees it. See, I think because they fine all these players because Tyreek Hill doesn't wear socks in his cleats.
Like, come
Y'all gonna
on.
fine him for that, but you're not gonna fine the refs for
Making, yeah.
all that could cost them the game.
And I think ultimately it goes against their record, and then like they don't get the chance to like officiate the big games. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like they obviously document this, and it goes
yeah,
against them, right? Like,
yeah.
and I think that's how it should be. I don't know if that's how it is, but I'm pretty sure that's how it goes.
I think it is.
But like, you have to. I don't know. I hate to dog on the refs too much because that's got to be one of the hardest jobs out there, just with everything coming at you, right? And you got to make instant decisions. But like with technology, like they could have easily, reviewed it and sent it off, and they wouldn't have had to do anything, and they would have said, "Yeah, that was a first down." You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, or just even talk
and
together, get together, and be
yeah,
like,
not even that. Like it's blatantly there. I
"Yeah,
mean,
that's what I mean." The next play, we could call for an offensive pass interference that, like, it was not an offensive pass interference, like back to back.
yeah,
And it puts us out of field goal range. It was almost like it was, I hate to even say it, but like they were working against us because they didn't want us to score before half.
yeah. And
Luckily, we
I don't
did,
know.
right? I mean, we got to play along the sideline and got out and kicked a 54-yarder from John Hole. But like, gosh, that's just, I don't know. Anyway, we got on a tangent there. Do we have anything else for, the terrible game that we had against Indiana and then the bounce back game that got us a lot of hope against Ohio State? I think ultimately, like, there's a lot to be proud of and look forward to what we have for the rest of the season if we
Yeah,
continue to play like we did, right? I think the biggest
right.
test that Matt Rule had to the team was, I know you played like that this week, but like we have to play like that the next week and then the next week,
Yeah,
right?
and then for
So
the
like the highs and
next 4
lows,
games?
we just need to find that steady state and be consistent.
Just gotta play complementary football at
Yeah,
all times. Like, you can't have one side of the ball, carrying you the whole game,
no,
and
no, no. Yeah.
it just doesn't work.
We'll now go into, preparing for this week. UCLA, West Coast school, comes into Nebraska for a 2:30 kickoff. We're favored by 6.5 at home. And, what are your thoughts on this?
I think there's two ways to think about this game and like what kind of team UCLA is because their record shows something I think a little different than what they actually are. Because as of right now, I think they're in the top. They have like a top 10 strength of schedule right now.
Yeah.
It's not easy. They've played Oregon, they played Penn State, they played Indiana. It hasn't been easy for them.
No. Yeah, I feel like their record definitely makes them look like a worse team than they are.
One thing I will say though is they do not have a run game.
No.
Absolutely zero. Their number one running back has 62 carries for 185 yards and a touchdown.
Holy cow.
That's your best running back. And then your quarterback has more carries than your next two running backs on the team.
Wow. Yeah, that's
I mean, it's not good.
no, it's
And I
not.
think they're averaging 2 yards a carry as a offense.
And 17.4 points per game. That's just
Yeah,
mean.
there
I
you
mean,
go.
that just shows you that their offense is just, it's not the greatest, but they have played some pretty good defenses. So
They have.
I don't
And
want
they
to dog them too much and think we have this one in the bag. But I'd like to say that I like our chances of getting back at home.
yeah, and I think we're gonna keep that UCLA's. I think we're gonna kind of keep ruining their season. I
Yeah.
think Nebraska can get it done. Ethan Garber's gone sacked 20 times already this year, and I think we're gonna probably make that
That's crazy.
25 or more.
And he's got 9 interceptions.
Yeah,
Wow.
so it's not good. I mean, I think their best receiver has like 200 and high 200 yards.
Yeah.
That's their best receiver.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely going to put a test to, our secondary for sure, if anything. I feel like they're definitely a pass first team. And I like our chances there. We've got a lot of depth there, luckily. I don't know if we get Tommy Hill back this week. I haven't heard.
Yeah, I've wondered.
But I mean, Bly Hill, he says that he's healthy, and now that we have 4 games left, he can still redshirt and play in the next 4 games. And that's a big thing for like not only defense but offensive players. We have 4 games left, and those people that have been sitting out the whole season to come in and play and make an impact.
Yeah.
That just gives us more depth, and you got fresh guys coming in every play and trying to make their name stand out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if Malachi Coleman's going to come in one of these games.
I think he will. I think he
You
will.
think so?
They were holding him out.
Okay.
You know, he had a pretty good season last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure what the decision was about this year of redshirting him this year.
Yeah.
I think it was, he kind of needed to put on some weight and put on some muscle. So hopefully he did that and uses these next 4 games to kind of get back in the swing of things and then full go next season. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So I think that'll be the one thing that I look for moving forward is who are those standout players that we haven't heard of or haven't seen much all year?
Yeah, that's I don't know. It's
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, UCLA, I like our chances with them changing time zones. 2:30 game. That's going to feel like a 12:30 game for them. And then I don't know. I haven't really looked at the weather much for this weekend, but I don't think it's going to be that.
There was like a 70% chance of rain. I don't know what time of day. I don't know if it's even going to be during the game, before the game, or after the game, but I know there's around a 70% chance.
Yes.
As of, I think, yesterday.
It starts at about noon, 1 o'clock, and the chance of rain rises throughout the evening. You know, they might get it in before the rain hits, but it looks like it's a high of 60 and a low of 42. So it's definitely going to be a November game in Nebraska, and hopefully that, works towards our advantage.
Yeah. I mean, it should.
Yeah.
I know UCLA ain't feeling that weather right now.
No. And they interviewed Sierra Wright and asked him, if he had some friends on UCLA. He said yes, and they were asking him about the weather here in Nebraska and if he was ready for November games and the winter coming up. And he's like, no, not at all. Like, it's been 32 degrees and I'm bundled up and everybody's making fun of me. And he said, I'll just have to put some Vaseline on my arms. And so that's just like firsthand experience from a West Coast boy coming into Nebraska. And that just kind of tells you the advantage that we might have. And that's like the good thing about being in Nebraska is that we're used to that weather. And I feel like that's going to play an advantage towards us.
And that's what I like about the January, those enrollees like Dylan and Tori, they all came in last year, so they experienced what the Nebraska weather is like, and they experienced the snow. And I mean, they didn't necessarily play in it, but they got to experience what it's like out here, and they practice in it. Coach Rule made them practice in it, and they at least got a taste of it.
Yeah, so I guess my question is, we have 4 games left. What do you think our record will be for the last 4 games of the season? What are you predicting?
Last 4 games.
We play UCLA, then have a bye. Then we go to USC. Then we play Wisconsin at home, Iowa away.
I think it could be 3-1 or 2-2.
So ceiling is 3-1?
Yeah.
You don't think we sweep all 4? No.
It's Nebraska football.
All right.
Well, everybody was like, hey, we can win the first 6 games. Well,
I mean, shoot, we should.
Yeah, we could have, but we didn't. Yeah. And I think it's probably going to be the same way this last 4. I just can't see us winning 4 straight games when we're in the gauntlet of our schedule.
Yeah. And the floor, obviously,
we go to USC. I know USC is not great. They're 4-4.
But we go out there.
But they play tough.
Yeah, and we go out there. So who knows what time that game's going to be? That's going to be weird. It's going to be a cool game, but I like that. I like 3-1. I'm feeling optimistic after the game we had last week. So I'd like to say 3-1.
I think the worst is we lose to USC and Wisconsin. We beat Iowa and UCLA.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
Because Wisconsin's, they're not really been talked about, but they're not a bad team.
They're not a bad team. No.
They're not a bad team.
I think the good thing is we have them at home the last game of the season. You know what I mean? So they're going to try to show out. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be fun to see how the rest of the season goes. We will now, move into segment 4, which is personally one of our favorites. 6 and 60. I give Carlos a game. He gives me the winner. I give him 6 games. He's got 60 seconds to go through that. So we'll get a timer ready here. Our record right now is tied 15 and 9. 15 correct, 9 incorrect. Both of us have the same record. So this could be the week
Second
that we
week in a
separate
row.
ourselves.
Second week in a row. Here we go.
All right. Are you ready, Carlos?
I'm ready.
Your first game is Ohio State, Penn State.
Ohio State, Penn State. I think Ohio State comes up with it just barely.
Okay. USC, Washington. At Washington.
At Washington. I think USC comes away with their explosive offense.
All right.
I think I gotta take USC.
Duke, Miami. Duke at Miami.
Miami, baby. Cam Ward.
All right. Wisconsin at Iowa. 30 seconds.
Wisconsin.
Ole Miss at Arkansas.
Arkansas upset.
Arkansas upset. Okay.
Yep.
And your last game, Jeff Sims, Arizona State at Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, Ollie Gordon. Once again, he's gonna pop up. I said it last time. He's gonna do it again.
Yes. They should have beat BYU. All right. So now that kicks it off for my turn. We'll get a timer up here on the screen so we can see how we're going. And I'm ready whenever you are, Carlos.
All right. So here we go. Here's the first game.
All right. What do you got?
Minnesota at Illinois.
Minnesota at Illinois. I think Minnesota comes into this. Yeah. Upset alert. I think they have been playing well, and I think they're going to upset them.
Okay. Arizona, UCF.
Arizona, UCF.
At UCF.
At UCF. I like UCF. I think Arizona started off hot in the beginning of the season, and they were pre-ranked, so they've just kind of been downhill since then.
Okay. Sneaky good game. Oregon, Michigan.
Oregon. I don't believe in Michigan this year. Oregon.
Okay. Vanderbilt at Auburn.
Ooh. This is tough. I'm going to have to go Vanderbilt.
Okay. Texas Tech at Iowa State.
Ooh, that's another good game. I'm going to go Iowa State.
Get at SMU.
SMU. I like SMU over Pitt.
Okay, Louisville, Clemson.
Dang. Cudnick.
Bro was fighting for his life there, bro.
I was. I didn't know how many I had left. Woo. All right, just in the nick of time. Those are some tough games. I don't know, man. Let us know your thoughts on what we said, who you think, what your picks are.
I know I'll be putting up on the story a few of those games, if not all of them.
Yeah, we're gonna be up. We're gonna be active. So help us out. Give us your thoughts. All right. So now that ends it for segment 4. Moving on to segment 5, studs and duds. We'll make this one a quick one. I know we're running a little long here. I'll go first. My stud this week, I like Jackson Dart at Arkansas. I think they've had a couple tough games these last couple weeks. I think they're going to come out. They're going to come out ready to play. They're going to give Arkansas everything they've got, and I don't think Arkansas can handle Jackson Dart. Who do you got for your stud?
No option. We got to win out.
Yes, I like it. No option. Got to win out. Said by Jackson Dart.
My stud is Tez Johnson, wide receiver, Oregon.
I like it. Hey.
That's my stud. I think he's going to pop off against Michigan. He's going to have over 150 receiving, a couple touchdowns.
I like it.
He's going to do it.
All right, so for my dud, I have Tyler Show, quarterback, Louisville, and they play at Clemson. I think Clemson, it's a big game for them. They've got a lot to prove. They haven't played many top teams. This is their chance. So I think they're going to take it to him, and he's going to be my dud this week. Who do you got for your dud?
My dud is Eli Holstein, Pitt, quarterback. They haven't lost yet, but they're playing probably, they're one of their toughest opponents this season in SMU.
Yep.
Well, it's going to be a good game, but I think SMU comes away with this one and not necessarily exposes Pitt, but I think they come away in a good win.
Yeah, I like it. So those are our studs and duds, and that ends that segment. To close this out, we go on to, some controversial topics. So we'll give you the topic, we'll give our thought on it, and we want to hear your thoughts in the social media as well. So I wanted to add to our list of controversial topics. I don't know if you saw this, but this was Monday Night Football. George Pickens, touchdown pass in the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
my thing is, he touched his right foot twice, right? He touched it on the ground, came up, touched it again. And that's not 2 feet, but an elbow
That's
is,
2 feet to me.
or a butt is. So
Or
like,
shin.
or a shit, like what? I don't
A
know.
shin bone, and I hit my 2 feet twice.
So do you
So
think
like, I hit 1 foot twice. That
that's a
doesn't.
catch, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad we're on the same page. I want to hear you guys'
If I have
thoughts.
enough time to get 1 foot down, it come up and come back down.
That's what I'm saying. That's
That's a
a
touchdown,
football
bro.
move according to the rule books. Do you have to make a football move to make it a catch?
Yeah,
So
that's touchdown, bro.
I
I
wanted
don't
to
care
throw that
who.
one in there just to see what we got from everybody else. If we had somebody studying the game that knows the actual ruling of why it wasn't called that, please let us know, because I was very
I think that's
confused.
a no.
Yeah.
If not, the rules need to be changed.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's what
that
I'm saying.
also, I had it in my fantasy league, so I really needed that.
Yeah. Our next topic, should Missouri be ranked in the top 25? What do you think?
No,
I don't think they should either.
no. If they would have kept it close with Bama or A&M, it'd be different.
Yeah, and
But they got manhandled by the only 2 ranked teams that they played.
yep. Yeah, I don't even know like who they've played on their schedule, because they just haven't shown up in big games. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they played Alabama, but they didn't even keep it close. It was 34-0.
Yeah, not 1 point scored by them. And then they play at Texas A&M and get beat 41-10. That's what? Like, you're not even competing.
Their
Like,
biggest
you're not
win,
competing at all.
I just looked it up right now, is Auburn 21-17 and Vanderbilt 30-27. So I guess Boston College they beat 2021.
But even those games,
Even those
as an
games, yeah,
SEC school,
exactly.
you should be
Like Auburn's a
winning a
2-5
by.
team. Like you can't even
Yeah.
count that. But yeah, I don't know why they got put in the top 25. If you guys have some thoughts on that, please let us know.
Yeah, I don't think they should be.
I totally agree with you. So they had a lot of potential. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, they had a lot of hype going in. They're like kind of similar to like Florida State.
Oklahoma.
A lot of hype. Didn't live up to it at all.
No, they sure didn't. So our last one, I'm gonna ask you, if the season were to end today.
Ashton Genty.
Woo! I
It's
like
got to be right.
Heisman finalists and front runners.
The last 3 running back Heisman winners through 7 weeks.
He's destroying those numbers. I saw
None
that
of them
stat.
none of them over had 1,000 yards
Yeah, so it's
through
just
7 weeks. And
crazy.
this team's almost at 1,500.
Yeah, I mean he's putting up some numbers that nobody's put up.
I mean, me personally, I gotta give it to him.
That's what I'm kind of thinking too.
Yeah.
I'd like to say, as much as I, am not a fan of Cam Ward, I feel like he does deserve to be in the running for sure.
That's what I like to hear.
He has been playing some good ball. They haven't played many top teams, so I'd love to see him put up a fight against the top team and see what he would do against the top defense. And then, then we've got Dylan Gabriel at Oregon, who's sitting at number 1 and hasn't really made a mistake. You know what I mean? He's won on big games, and he's gotten the job done. And then you've got a two-way player, Travis Hunter, that's making a name for himself as well. So, if the season ended today, and you could take 3 of those 4, who would it be?
The 3 of the 4?
Yeah, because you can only take 3 to the final.
It's gotta be Dylan, Travis, and Ashton. It's gotta be
Dylan, Travis, and Ashton. No Cam Ward, huh?
No.
Why is that? Is that because of his
Me
schedule?
personally, I would take Cam Ward over Travis,
But they're not going to do that.
but it won't happen. So
Yeah, I don't know. It's
just because of Cam Ward He was an unranked player. He goes in, starts at Washington State, comes into Miami, and they're undefeated.
Yeah.
And he's not just undefeated. He's balling like.
He is. Like, he's putting up some crazy numbers.
Yeah. So that's the reason why.
Yep.
I think I would take him, but I don't think they will.
But I mean, that'd be, 4 different positions with 3 players in a Heisman finalist. Has that ever happened? Like a running back, a cornerback, and a wide receiver mix, and then a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
crazy.
The last person to do it. It was in like the 90s, I think.
As far as
was
what?
In the running. I don't know if they made it to the final 3, but they were in the running.
But I'm just saying, like, 3 different positions. Like, oftentimes you see 2 quarterbacks and a running back, or 2 running backs and a quarterback. But let alone a defensive player. We don't see that very often. And a two-way player, like
really 4 different positions.
That's what I'm saying. 4 different positions, 3 players in one final. That's got to be crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's a good case of why Travis Hunter gets in over Cam Ward, I feel like.
Yeah, and I could see that happening, but
yeah,
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I mean, give us your thoughts. Tell us who you think should go in there instead of one of those 4, and give us a reasoning, and we'll
Diego Pavia.
We'll put it on here. Did you know he was actually offered a scholarship to wrestle in Nebraska? He turned it down.
Here's the reason why he didn't go.
So anyway, give us some thoughts on the Heisman, Missouri being in the top 25, and the NFL George Pickens catch. Let us know what you think. Do you have anything else for us, Lowe's, or what?
I don't. I think that's a podcast, brother.
That's the podcast. Well, take it away here.
Well, guys, that's we made it through another one. We missed the last week, but we're back this week. We're going to keep going.
Than ever.
We touched on Nebraska football the last couple of weeks, the ups and downs. What's going forward for Nebraska? The top 25, the new mix with the 12-team playoff, and next week is going to be the playoff rankings, so that's going to be exciting to see.
Yep.
We did our regular studs and duds, our 6 and 60, and we got out of here with our regular controversial topic, which obviously we said it, and we'll say it again. Go to rz.reports on our Instagram, check it out, see the story, vote on it.
Yep.
Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, and again, we are live on 3 different platforms. For your convenience, go check us out. Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube. So YouTube, you can watch the video, obviously, as we're live here. But yeah, give us some love. Go follow us on those platforms and give us your thoughts on our topics that we talk about. But that's all we have for you today. Thanks for tuning in, and look forward to talking to you guys next week.
Come back next week, gang.
Yes. Later.